Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Propeller Club of Northern California's March meeting. My name is Ron Brown, for those that I don't know, and I think most of the people on the call I do know. I am a maritime marketing representative for the Port of Oakland and a board member of the Propeller Club of Northern California. Stas Margaronis, who is the president of the Propeller Club and who normally opens these meetings, have a conflict today and asked me if I would facilitate today's virtual meeting. Today's meeting is on Seafarers and the Seafarers Ministry of the Golden Gate and their very important role for the maritime industry. I'd like to start with a brief commercial on the Propeller Club because we are a membership organization that provides information sharing among maritime-related entities in the Bay Area. Over many years, we have coordinated information sharing events concerning many issues that affect maritime and supply chain stakeholders. Such events include topics on labor negotiations, the storms, flooding, and sea level defense conferences, which was a very popular series of meetings that drew attendance from all around the world. And we also have an upcoming meeting on protecting the industrial waterfront, a collaborative post-stadium process, on Tuesday, April the 2nd at Scott Seafood from 11:30 to 2. Our membership is on a calendar year basis, and we are encouraging our members, our existing members, to renew their membership, and we're inviting new members to join and become active in our events. The corporate membership is $350 a year and includes 5 individual members, and the individual membership is $95 a year. Most of our in-person meetings have been at Scott Seafood in Oakland, and we're anticipating that future meetings will be at various maritime and or member facilities throughout the Bay Area. There are seven ports in the Bay Area and many maritime-related facilities and technology providers. Membership in the Propeller Club will give you a great way to learn more about them. Our most recent meeting was with an executive from the Maritime Academy in Vallejo. That might be a future site of one of our meetings. Okay, enough of the commercial. I'd like to follow Stas's procedure of letting everyone introduce themselves so that we know who you are. So if you don't mind, just give your name and company or organization, and we can do this quickly. So I'll start with the port staff that I see. And Mr. Brandis, if you don't mind, we'll start with you.
Yeah, thank you, Ron. Good morning, everybody. Brian Brandis, the Maritime Director for the Port of Oakland.
Okay, next, Brenda James.
Good morning, everyone. Brenda James, I'm with Maritime Division, Port of Oakland.
All right, I also see Bill Morrison there.
Good morning, everyone. Bill Morrison. I'm the Harbor Facilities Manager in Maritime.
We've got a new member of our maritime marketing staff, and I'm gonna let her introduce herself. And you might even take an extra moment, Carolyn, and give them a little bit of your background and where you came from before joining the port. So Carolyn, if you don't mind. Is she muted, Todd?
No, it doesn't look like it. She may have stepped away.
Okay, we'll come back to her. I see Evie Wong on. Evie, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you, Ron. You're doing a great job as host. This is Evie Huang. I'm with the Customs Brokers Forwarders Association, and I'm pleased to say I am a proud member of Propeller Club as well. Thank you, Ron.
All right, I see a Susan's iPhone, and I know we have a couple of Susans. So, Susan?
Hi, Ron, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay, I'm having some technical difficulties. This is Sue Sullivan with the Pasha Group. I am a manager of the Oversized Cargo Division and a proud member of the Propeller Club. Thank you very much.
All right, well, maybe I should have asked our board members to self-identify. I apologize for that. Carolyn is on. She actually came over to my office. She's right next door. So Todd, if you want to put the camera back on me somehow, some way, and let her introduce herself to the group.
You're on.
I'm
You're
on?
there. Yeah, you're
All
on.
right.
Where I can't see me, but okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carolyn Almquist, and I just joined the Port of Oakland. This is my 4th week. I'm the manager of business development and international marketing. I had a previous life with a company that is well known in the Oakland area. Our name was American President Lines for a very long time. So I'm thrilled to be at the Port of Oakland and glad to meet you all and look forward to some great meetings and some great information. Thanks very much.
All right.
Now I'm going to run back to my office where I can see but not talk.
All right. Bob, I see you popped up.
Hey, Ron, thanks a lot. Bob Bouchard. I'm on the board of directors for Seafarers Ministries. I've been with the Governor's Office of Emergency Services for 23 years, and I'm the state maritime officer.
All right, let's go to Kevin.
Hello, my name is Kevin Policarpo. I work as Stas Margaronis' research assistant for Maritime news and information.
All right, I forgot to do Nick because he was giving us such great information. So let's go back to Nick.
Thank you, Ron. Hello, everybody. My name's Nick Maroney. I'm the vice president for the Seafarers International Union out here in Oakland, California.
All right, Peter Dreyfus, I think I see you there, sir.
Good morning, sir. I represent Watermaster North America. We manufacture a shallow water dredger that's 36 feet long. We're manufacturing in Michigan right now. And eventually I will crack the nut of how to do hydraulic dredging in the bay.
Well, we certainly wish you luck with that, sir.
Thank you.
And I intentionally left Mr. Wilkins to be last, I think, since we're going to introduce you further. If you want to just do a very brief self-introduction, Robert. You're muted.
Robert Wilkins. I'm Robert Wilkins, Executive Director and Chief Program Officer for Seafarers Ministry of the Golden Gate at the International Maritime.
All right. Todd, did I get everybody?
I could try Carolyn again. See if she's back.
Yes, she's on. She just introduced herself. I think we're
Oh,
up.
so okay, I think we got
we're up
everybody
to
then.
15. I think that's everybody. So, okay, again, I'm delighted to welcome you all to today's presentation, focusing on the essential yet often overlooked group of individuals, our seafarers. We often talk about the stakeholders that make up the global supply chain, including ocean carriers, terminal operators, stevedores, longshoremen, truckers, warehouse workers, and others. However, we rarely see or talk about the men and women that make up the seafarers. They brave vast oceans, working tirelessly to facilitate trade, ensure the smooth functioning of maritime commerce, and connect nations across continents. Seafarers are the backbone of the maritime industry, facing numerous challenges, responsibilities as they navigate the complexities of the open seas. From the early explorers who ventured into uncharted waters to the modern-day sailors who man the large vessels, their contributions are immeasurable and their sacrifice is profound. Today's guest speaker will talk about his organization's role in working to better the lives and experiences of seafarers, and he is very qualified to do so. At the end of today's meeting, we hope to show you a brief video on the life at sea of a seafarer. We put in the end so that you can choose to watch it or not. We're also posting the link to where the video can be watched at your convenience. So, today it's my pleasure to introduce Robert Wilkins, a distinguished professional whose career has been dedicated to serving others and fostering positive change. With a diverse background spanning leadership roles in both the nonprofit and maritime sectors, Robert brings a wealth of experience and expertise to his current positions as Executive Director of the International Maritime Center and Chief Program Officer at the Seafarers Ministry of the Golden Gate. Robert's journey in service began years ago, marked by a commitment to organizations such as the YMCA of the East Bay, where he served as president and CEO for nearly 2 decades. Throughout his tenure, he demonstrated exceptional leadership, guiding the organization through periods of growth and transformation while ensuring the delivery of impactful programs and services to the community. In addition to his role at the YMCA, Robert has held various leadership positions, including chairman of the board at the Beneficial State Foundation and board member at Beneficial State Bank. His academic pursuits have been equally impressive, earning a Master's of Divinity from Berkeley School of Theology with additional studies at San Francisco Theological Seminary. Welcome, Mr. Wilkins. You have the mic. Are you there, Robert?
You're on mute, Robert. Still on
Robert, unmute.
Decided to make this I decided to make this an experience in, a kind of subliminal experience where you feel what I'm saying as opposed to hearing it.
We feel you.
So that's it. Exactly. That's a contemporary expression. Thanks, Ron, for the generous introduction, and good morning again to the friends and members of the Propeller Club. I'm grateful for the opportunity to spend a little bit of time with you today to talk about Seafarers and the Seafarers Ministry of the Golden Gate and the work of maritime welfare organizations. We all know that for more than 2,000 years, people have exchanged and traded goods and ideas and cultures by way of the sea. The sea is, and the whole notion of maritime is central to the functioning of the world and critical to the global economy. It is pervasive in all of its dimensions, yet it is well known as invisible in plain sight. Maritime is as mystical, mysterious, and adventurous and compelling all at the same time. Every day, and right now, there's it's a challenging time for shipping and maritime, as it is for all industries and for the world. We are at an epic time in history where a lot of things are changing. Countries are making decisions as to which direction in which they will go. For the first time in human history, more than 50% of the population of the planet this year will elect leaders of their nations and entities. It's the first time in human history such a thing has happened. So there's a lot of change going on, and maritime is with its challenges as well. There's all kinds of increases as we move. Technology is having a significant impact. Of course, the climate is changing, the navigations on the seas and so forth, as well as political tension and strife that is making navigation on the seas not quite as clear a thing as it had been done before. And so shipping companies and everybody involved in the maritime ecosystem are preoccupied with a lot of those things as we set the stage for the next 100 years of maritime under a different set of conditions. But as important as all of those things are, and as necessary as those things are to be done, in the midst of that, there is great attention that must be given to the conditions and concerns of our seafarers. These giant ships that are on the waters, about 60,000 total merchant vessels on the global seas trading globally, all kinds of vessel types. Everybody are advocating, 150,000 of which are officers, and about 1.1 million what we call ratings. They are able-bodied seamen, ordinary seamen, and so forth and so on that do the various other things. They are from seafarer supplying countries in the world. Followed, coming along the heels of those are South Korea and Myanmar, and even Ukraine, which obviously has had a shortage lately, but still are prominent in the seafaring workforce. Seafarers of this workforce is under the age of 40, and the largest block of them is actually 20 to 30 years old. 38% of them are 20 to 30 years old. When they elect to pursue a career at sea, many of them, most of them, are full of enthusiasm and excitement and anticipation about seeing the world, about developing their skills and their global awareness, becoming culturally competent, as well as being able to be compensated well to take care of their families who are distances away, as well as build a future for their children and their families in their own countries or wherever it is that they choose to settle. And in some measure, that turns out to be true for many of them, that it is an exciting and rewarding and fulfilling and satisfying career. But the current news regarding seafarer job satisfaction is a bit disappointing. We're going to take a look at some information that is going to let us know directly from the seafarers' mouths how they feel about the jobs that they have. The Seafarers Happiness Index is a quarterly survey of global seafarers that is compiled by the Mission to Seafarers, a major maritime welfare organization headquartered in London and sponsored by North Standard, a global marine insurer. And they're at sea. Let's take a look at some of the numbers. Todd will bring up a slide for us at this time. And we'll take a look. Survey consists of 10 questions. We'll first look at the questions. I will not read all of these because you can read for yourself, but they generally involve just the general level of happiness, things concerning the support that they get from their companies in terms of training and wages, food, and the ability of how life is on board, and some of the stresses and issues of concern that they have being on board for so long and particularly away from their families. So these are the questions in order of the survey. It's a paper survey. Seafarers self-select to go online to take the survey, and there are about 13,000 replies every quarter. And so these are the questions in order that the order that they see when they take the survey. Next slide, Todd, please. We'll take a look at some of the results of the survey. Here are the results from the highest score to the lowest score. We'll focus in on a couple of these. The highest score was when at sea. Obviously, being out on the water for 4 or 5 months at a time is a very challenging thing for people to endure. And for many years, the connectivity use and the availability of Wi-Fi from the ship to be able there, by and large, the seafarers were needing to buy SIM cards and insert the phones, had all kinds of challenges and so forth, strained. That has become much better, and as you can see, is the top issue. However, there's still some concerns, and most of the seafarers indicate that they would prefer better connectivity and more affordable options. There is not free Wi-Fi on board. The IMO has sought to negotiate with the ICS and ITF in order to make that take place, but the economics do not favor that at this particular point, so it still can be an expensive proposition, and the connectivity issues are still challenging, although they are bringing on Starlink to many vessels, and Starlink seems to be working fairly well because the satellites sit lower in the sky and the connectivity is a little bit more stable. There's also an issue for depending upon where you are on the ship. Engineers, for example, in order to call their family, perhaps at the time when their family might be available, they have to sneak away from their job in order to make a family call, and that creates some safety problems as well as just some tension regarding their status and ability to connect with their family. But that is the thing that came out as the top. We'll go down and you can see also that interacting with crew on board and food, that seems to be those are the things that came out on top, although there are some particulars about things there as well. We'll go to the bottom and see what's at the bottom. Wages and salary are at the bottom. Happy with workload at the bottom. So they're feeling overworked and underpaid, but who isn't? But we'll get into a little bit of details about that later. And right above that is how happy seafarers are with welfare facilities when they are ashore. We are a maritime welfare organization that are talking about the kinds of facilities that are available to us. There was no change from one year to from one quarter to the next, but it does show up in the bottom three, and we have some concern about that, and we'll speak about that as it relates to our own welfare facilities in the Bay Area a little bit later on in the presentation. And so those are the general results. Todd, if we could move to the next slide, that would be helpful. We do some analysis to see which of the categories and which of the questions had an increase from one quarter to the next. There were only two this quarter. Those two were how happy about contact with family at sea, and that turned out as the top thing they were happiest with, and it did increase from one quarter to the next. How happy about access to shore leave also experienced an increase, but it was in the bottom half in its rating from 1 to 10. So even though it did experience an increase, overall, it is among the things that they are least satisfied with. What is beginning to happen and the consistent responses that we hear, first of all, is that and we know that there is a negative impact on their mental health. There are feelings of despair and isolation. Connectivity has both positive and challenging consequences with it. Heretofore, people were longing for their family and so forth, but they didn't know what was going on. Now, with connectivity, I can know what is going on in my family. If there is strife in the family, if there is illness in the family, if there are economic problems in the family, seafarers know about that in real time, yet there is nothing that they can do about it. And so that is a very much of a significant challenge for them. And when they are unable to get any relief from the work situation by way of not having shore leave, they begin to have feelings of despair, restlessness, and just really feel isolated and out of sorts. Seafarers indicate that they are beginning to feel, because of security concerns now, they're beginning to feel the way that they did during COVID, when there were COVID restrictions because everybody was restricted and unable to move around freely. And now security seems to be replacing COVID as a reason for restricting shore leave. And that is a very big concern that needs to be addressed. Sometimes there are port restrictions, and sometimes there are also just company policies that are restricting this. And even though, as you can see, there is an increase in their happiness with this, it was 0.8 of a point, not even a full 1/10 of a point, and it is still only 6.14 out of 10. That's like 61%. Not sure what school you went to, but if you went to the same school I did, 61 would have gotten you an F. B- at the very best. And probably on most of your jobs, if you're hitting at 61% of goal, probably not getting, Employee of the Year awards. In terms of decreased happiness, everything else is going in the wrong direction. And these are ranked in the order of which had the largest drop. Training is the area that seems to be the most distressing to them, because, again, these are young people who are looking at a future, assuming that they will be getting new skills and expanding their horizons for sustainability and prosperity for their families and so forth. But they are getting less training than they would prefer and had hoped for, because of the fact that they are now doing a lot more paperwork. They're getting extended watch keeping because of security concerns and various other kinds of things. And that does not bode well for the industry itself, because there is clearly a shortage of seafaring talent and a growing demand for it, as we see larger and more ships being built and maritime proliferating as an industry as the world moves forward. And so there are some very serious concerns that we have. The one area that did not experience change was how happy with welfare facilities seafarers were. When they are able to get ashore in Europe, in the United Kingdom, Canada, and Japan, they are very, very happy with the facilities, because they are large, elaborate facilities with modern amenities where the seafarers are able to come, relax, get away. There are some, in many cases, in those facilities, social services and various other things that are very encouraging and nurturing to the seafarers. In the U.S., we have some exemplary facilities, particularly on the East Coast. In Florida, Seattle is getting better. Here in Oakland, at our Port of Oakland, we do have plans and have a lot of encouragement from the Port of Oakland to be able, where we are on Port of Oakland property, by the way, which is a rarity. We are among very few maritime welfare agencies that are actually on port property proper. Most maritime welfare facilities are in adjacent to ports and nearby, but not directly on port property. So Port of Oakland is to be commended for giving us very valuable and pristine property at berth 40 in the Port of Oakland. We are now underway to modernize our facility and expand those facilities and so forth there. So, excuse me. The role of maritime welfare organizations is important. As you can see, there are many concerns that seafarers have, and many people who play a role in satisfying these concerns. There are, of course, the shipping companies, the agents, and crewing companies, and various people like that who have a responsibility for taking care of seafarers. Once they take off from shore and are afloat on their destinations to do their work, there are other agencies that appear to provide some support. The Coast Guard comes on board vessels, but their role primarily is to check the safe operation of the vessels themselves. Of course, CBP comes on board, but that is to make certain that they are able to enter the country. The ITF has the International Transport Federation of Transportation Workers, brings people on board to do inspections for those ships and shipping companies that have labor contracts with the ITF, and they are on board to talk to seafarers and look after them and so forth. However, there are more ship visitors from maritime welfare organizations that are on board ships to specifically look after the care and welfare of seafarers than Coast Guard, CBP, and ITF combined. For example, ITF has one inspector for the Broad Bay Area region, and she is also responsible for Hawaii. And so they are not able to have multiple people on board ships every day specifically to look after the care and welfare. How are you doing? How are things going? How are you feeling? Is there anything that I can do for you? Do you need anything? Can we run an errand for you to bring you something that you need before you leave? Maritime welfare organizations like Seafarers Ministry of the Golden Gate are the only entity that does that. There are, in certain instances, shipping agents who work with chandlers and others who might provide that service. But what we hear from seafarers by way of the happiness index is that they run into a lot of unscrupulous shipping agents who will charge them excessive amounts of money to drive them around the area, or will mark up the price of goods that they might get from Walmart or something like that, whether it's candy, toiletries, cosmetics, and so forth, and so on. And so what we do in maritime welfare organizations is very, very, very significant. And we, like many other people, struggle with workforce and human power to do that. So we have a special program of our own. Todd, let's go to the next slide, please. And it's called the Ship Visit and Welcome Team. What we are doing is training in recruiting and training members of our Bay Area community who are diverse, who are welcoming, who are friendly on the protocols for ship visitation. They are trained on gangway safety, port protocols, as well as other human skills, cross-cultural dialogue, combating social isolation, and various other kinds of skills that are necessary to present a hospitable presence to seafarers who are weary and who very much welcome and appreciate, first of all, just simply being recognized and knowing that people know and care about them, because as Ron mentioned earlier, they are the linchpin to the supply chain, but are often forgotten. Our goal for the Ship Visit and Welcome Team is to visit every ship that calls the Port of Oakland within 8 hours of arrival, so that we can make our Port of Oakland the friendliest port in the world. That will help the sustainability of shipping writ large. That will hopefully encourage other maritime welfare organizations who are already reaching out to us saying, will you share your training curriculum with us? Will you share your recruiting, and so forth and so on? We are already making a dent this year. We intend to double our ship visits from last year. Normally, we are at about 35% of the 1,000 ships that call the Port of Oakland per year. This year, we want to be at 700. And by mid next year, we want to be able to visit every ship within 8 hours of arrival. That will be a source of civic pride and competitive advantage for our Port of Oakland. More significantly, it will be a sign of hope and relief for the seafarers that do so much for us and preserve our way of life of comfort and convenience and prosperity, but that they go hidden. So I want to thank you for listening. I think I'll stop there and I'll entertain any questions in the remaining time that we have.
Robert, this is Ron, and I think we had this conversation early in the week, but I wanted to kind of revisit it so that everyone else can have the benefit of it. The Seafarers of the Golden Gate also visits other ports in the Bay. Also, I mean the oil vessels and the bulk vessels that come into one of the other 6 ports that's in the Bay. Is that correct?
Yes. That is. At this time, we mostly respond to them when they have been able to reach out to us in advance, or when there is a crisis. We do have, we are part of a network of maritime welfare organizations. So it is possible for someone on a ship that's going to, for example, just recently we had visit a ship in Crockett that was delivering sugar to CNH. And They reached out to us before they got there and said, please give us a visit. We were able to do some fact finding about the issues that they had and the needs that they had, as well as the composition, the nationality of their ship crew, which happened to be largely Filipino, which many of them are. And we were able to reach out to our Filipino partners and go and meet their needs and have a picnic there, because there was some holiday going on in the Philippines, and we were able to bring our friends and actually have a picnic in the park there right by the vessel. So yes, we do Stockton, Antioch, Pittsburgh, Redwood City, and all of them. Our goal is to be able to establish sort of chapters in those areas as well, working with service groups and faith-based organizations to develop the skills and protocols and procedures that we use at Seafarers Ministry of the Golden Gate to be able to work with us and ultimately become self-sustaining entities of their own.
Excellent, excellent. Now, does anybody else on the call have any questions for Robert?
No, I would just like to take an opportunity to compliment Robert and all the work that his staff and all the other ministries and seafaring wellness centers provide for worldwide seafarers. It's extremely challenging work when you have to live and work so far away from home, and you're gone months on end. The psychological effects are enormous, and these type of visits bring wellness and give them encouragement and all the good things that help them to continue on for their tasks safely and be able to also take care of their families. But Robert, did I hear you say you had a video of some interview with the actual seafarers?
No, at the it's not interviews of us. It is a video that we pulled down so that people, and so none of us are in it. It is readily available. There is a link that will come at the end, and shortly, in a couple of seconds, we will play it because it seems like we might have the actual time to do so. But yes, you will see it, but it does not feature any of us. I do appreciate you mentioning also wellness. One of the features and services that we hope to be able to put in place in our center starting in the fall. We are working a partnership with California State University East Bay School of Nursing to create what we know as the Ship-Shape Clinic, because again, the seafarers, you can't see a doctor while you're out at sea, and most of them do not have a full medical crew, and they, in many cases, have to deal with injuries and various other things on their own. So we have established a partnership with the School of Nursing, registered nurses who will be in their first semester after receiving their license or in their last semester before receiving their license, will be headquartered at our facility starting 2 days a week in the fall, provided that we get, this is the first time maybe Brian is hearing this, so that will be pending that everything is appropriate according to our agreements for tenancy on port property. But that's a very important thing as well, because it is dangerous work in very, very tough conditions, and the injuries and illnesses that they have to endure themselves are fairly significant.
Yeah, they
Robert,
are.
I particularly like. I'm sorry, Nick. Go ahead.
No, and I just want to tell Robert that it's a very dangerous job at times, and particularly here last week, we lost 3 seafarers due to missile attacks there in the Red Sea. And
Yes.
this has been part of the seafarers' tradition for over 300 years, and probably longer internationally. But just speaking for the American side, we've been involved in every single conflict that this country has been in, from the beginnings of the Revolutionary War all the way through our most current wars here in Desert Shield, Desert Storm. And we have suffered combatant type of injuries, and yet we continue to go to work and do what needs to be done. And that's a hell of a statement for people that are committed to this industry, considering some of those circumstances that they have to confront. Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to add, this is Ron, I wanted to add to Robert. I certainly support and like your idea of making Oakland the friendliest port for our seafarers to come, and making sure that, we have, guests to welcome them, and certainly provide what you're offering, particularly with the Nursing Association, to give them some medical attention as they might need it. So thank you for helping us at the port. I mean, we're always looking for ways to make our port friendlier and easier to certainly to do business through. So if we don't have any other questions, I would like to sort of finish my opening commercial.
Evie has one.
And invite everyone to, don't leave yet. Huh?
Evie has a question.
Hi,
Oh,
Ron.
I'm sorry.
I think
Sorry,
maybe you
Evie. I didn't
can't
see
see
your
us.
hand. I apologize. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Ron. And Robert, again, I would add to the appreciation of the work you do, and you bring the invisible visible, I think. And as I like to do, I like to periodically check in. How are the shore leave approvals going and such? We have a meeting with Customs next week, and if there's any comment that I can add on your organization behalf, may I know how shore leave approvals are going?
Shore leave is seems to be getting better, but as the index tells us, it's not as much as they would like, and most of that has to do with the fact that the stays are getting shorter. Their stays in port are getting much shorter, and their workloads are increasing such that they are working during the time that they are that they are calling the port. A lot of it is paperwork related to these regulations that are beginning to kick in, and so forth. So very little of it. We're not having the problem with CBP that we were having before, when we were having ships that were hanging at anchorage for so long, and people's shore passes were expiring. That was a problem during COVID, when they would get a 29-day pass and then be at anchorage for 42 days and could not renew. So that's not happening very much anymore. Most of it now has to do with the whole notion that they're feeling overworked and overburdened with extra work. And in some cases, they're so tired, it's like, I don't even really feel like getting up and trying to go through all of that just to come back here and face the same thing again. We've had that on the last 2 or 3 ship visits that we've done. We've had people elect not to get off ship.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. And my concern was, you had mentioned something about security, and if there was increased security if they were allowed off ship. So, certainly better for mental health if they could get a little bit of shore leave. So,
Yes, we're not experiencing the security that much over here. And bear in mind that the numbers and statistics that I quote from the Happiness Index, these are global. And so a lot of that is in Europe, where they're experiencing that now because they are much closer to those conflicts that are going on in the Black Sea, Red Sea, and so forth. We are not experiencing that quite as much here. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow, as a matter of fact, with the California Maritime Security Council. I'll be doing a similar presentation with them tomorrow at about this very same time.
Okay, well, guys, we're getting sort of to the end of this track. I do want to remind everyone that we do have another event coming up on April the 2nd, as I mentioned, at Scott Seafood. It's the Protecting the Industrial Waterfront, a collaborative post-stadium process. We have several speakers, and I think Brian Brandis is going to be part of a panel that's going to be facilitating some discussions about what might be the future of our Howard terminal here in Oakland. So what I'm going to suggest, if there are no other questions, Todd, if you want to start the video, and then we'll end with the video. Hopefully everyone will stay and watch. I think it's only a couple minutes. If you can't, and if you have another event, you have to go to another activity, Todd did post the link, so you can go on there and watch it at another time. So
Yeah, it's on the chat box,
yeah.
and we'll post it on the website too.
Yeah. So if you want to go ahead and start the video chat, Todd.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm not hearing the sound.
Export and import of goods and develop the economy of the nation. The force behind driving the sea trade is seafarers. Today, we're asking you one question. Are seafarers key workers? When the world came to a standstill, the seafarers were working around the clock. Tired and exhausted, yet they didn't stop. They were there when the world needed them the most. They've risked their lives so we can be safe in our homes without any shortage of essentials. When we were depressed and scared in our homes, they motivated us from the front line. This is not the first time they're helping us in our tough times, as they have played a significant role in all the world wars we have witnessed towards peacekeeping and delivery of humanitarian aid. Do we really need to identify them as key workers? They have been our essential workforce even before this pandemic. But has the world been fair to them? Thousands are stuck and waiting to get back to their loved ones. Many are at sea, way beyond their contract time. They are depressed, lonely, and exhausted. The world has turned a blind eye on the issues they face and not given them the dignity and respect they deserve. Today, we request governments around the world to provide quick and decisive actions for our frontline workers. To thank them for their contribution to the world trade, to provide them support by not just calling them key workers, but truly believing them as the key element in our supply chain. That's when we can recognize today as a Happy Seafarers Day. Seafarers were, are, and will be an essential workforce.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Day of the Seafarers, June 25.
Very enlightening. Thank you.
Thank you.